BluHue Design Studio is happy to welcome Mathew Smith of Impressions Designs. Thank you for accepting and lending your valuable time, Mathew. Mathew is the founder and proprietor of Impressions Designs. With the slogan of Growth by Design, Impressions Design has contributed to the branding and growth of many businesses, specifically the ones in and around Melbourne. For over 2 decades now, Impressions Designs and Print has been providing graphic design and print solutions. While the clientele has been both local and international, Impressions Designs operates with a strong motive to contribute towards the local economy by encouraging and patronizing local and small businesses. Over the years, Impressions Designs and Mathew Smith has become a pillar to Melbourne small businesses when it comes to branding and graphic design. So, Mathew, how did all this start?
Okay, it's an interesting story. I was out of work in the 1990s and mid-90s, and I was sick of looking for work. So I gave it a go with regards to knocking on the doors of businesses, asking what design solutions I can come up with for them. And it was literally door knocking on places like restaurants, takeaway food places, any place that might have constant printing and design needs. So I knocked on the door of a local chicken shop, and they needed menus. And basically, that's where it started. I had to draw a chicken. Looked a little bit like Foghorn Leghorn, and he was holding a chicken. He was holding a stop sign because the name of the store was Chicken Stop. So that's how it all started. And I found someone to do the printing as well. I needed to find someone to do the printing, and I found a local printer to do the printing. And he took me under his wing. He liked my work, and he took me under his wing. And I started in a print shop. So that's how it all started, and it's just blossomed from there.
Yeah, so
real jobs, learning on real jobs. Yeah.
So you basically went to someone to get a job done, and he offered you a job.
Yes, yeah.
That's neat.
Yes, sort of like that. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah, that's basically the start of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so it's just started from way back then, 20 years ago.
Yeah. So, and now you are, you yourself have a print shop, and you're doing it's probably much more than just a print shop that what you're doing now. So it's really impressive.
Well, my main focus is the design. I outsource all my printing, so I don't actually do, but I outsource it to trade printers. I've established a very good relationship with some local and national printers here in Australia. I don't outsource overseas. That's one thing I pride myself on, staying in Australia. And the reason for that is because of the fact that I love the design, but I think the outcome is also just as important with regards to what it's printed on, how it's printed, how it looks when it's printed. Because when you see something on the screen, it can look fantastic. But when you're actually holding it in your hands, like a really nice business card or a brochure or something like that, it's a little bit more special, I think, and you can touch and feel it. The smell of new printing, and I just love the whole process from design concept right through to the end product. I love the whole process. That's why I've stuck with printing. You see a lot of graphic designers that just only do the design, and then they'll tell the client to go find someone else to do the printing. I've taken all that headache away from my clients, and I do the whole thing. And I love it. And it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. It can be a little bit more complicated than just doing the design because you've got a physical product. But over the years, I've refined that process. So it's gonna be pretty consistent. So nice. Yeah, and I focus solely on quality. I don't go for the really tacky sort of cheap stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
so I've got a bit of a mid to high range client there.
You have definitely come a long way, and you mentioned that you did the chicken stop. Was that your first logo, or do you consider something else your first logo?
It was sort of a logo, but it was more of an illustration. Listen, I started off not knowing that I was doing logos because I was doing stuff for business cards. Small businesses in the area would come in and they'd say, oh, I want a business card. But what would happen then with the business card is I'd do the nice design for the business card and they'd end up using it on all their signage and all that sort of stuff. And at the time, because I was pretty naive, I didn't know that what I was doing was their branding. What I was developing for them was the start of their branding. Mm-hmm. It was the seed that was planted mm-hmm. for their brand to grow. Mm-hmm. Now, back then I was probably more, when I first started, I was probably more in transition phase between desktop publisher to graphic designer, because it wasn't for quite a few years that I could actually tell myself and people around me that I was confident enough to say that I was a graphic designer, because I was learning on the job. I was learning on real job, but it was a lot of it was very mundane, boring things like receipt books, invoice books, business cards, and all that sort of stuff. But there was those jobs that really challenged me, and I took to them and I conquered them, like things like booklets and stuff like that, where you have to get the page numbering right and all that sort of stuff. And that was they're the real jobs. I didn't learn in a traditional classroom. My classroom was a print shop, so it was quite exciting. It had its moments, but it was quite it was a bit of a boot camp for me. So I do cherish those times. I've come a long way since then, mm-hmm. running my own business. I outgrew it, but I would I'm eternally grateful for that opportunity, because it sort of defined where I am now. So I was initially probably doing a lot of clip art work, mm-hmm. but then I developed my own style from that, and it taught me a lot about customer service, branding, all just right from day one, when the customer's brand new, comes in the door, has a problem to solve, and I work out how I solve that problem. So it's quite exciting, and I still do that today, but it's a little less daunting to me today, and the process is a lot more refined.
So what is the major difference? Like, do you see any difference between when you started designing and how design is now? Or
oh yeah, I see a huge difference with regards to a holistic approach to business. In other words, it's not just about doing a logo for them. It's not just about doing a brochure for them. It's getting to know the customer. It's forming a relationship with the customer and solidifying that relationship so you can help them, the overall brand, I would say, of the business, not just one or two pieces that might make them look good, but where their brand focus is, who they are as a business, who they're appealing to, their audience, and all that sort of stuff. And it's like the way I see it isn't just, oh, I've got that problem to solve. I've got this great big picture to look at as to where they could go with their business. And I've got and that I'm a big believer in networking as well. So networking with other business owners to form that relationship with them. And I think that's a key point in any business's marketing arsenal with regards to generating not just word of mouth, but trust and likability and reputation. So I think one key, if anybody takes any key points away from this interview, I would say look into getting out of your comfort zone and going doing some networking, whether it's online. At the moment, it has to all be online, but connections with other business owners, not just sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring or putting your portfolio out there and thinking that people are going to come to you.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Let's go into branding now. So logos are part of branding, but logos alone don't make a brand. What is your take on that?
Oh, yeah. As I said, the bigger picture is the brand. Mm-hmm. Branding is everything that your customer or your potential customer experiences with your business. Say for instance, Apple computers. If you saw the logo and you didn't know that they were a technology company or a lifestyle company, I'd go to say they're a lifestyle company. You wouldn't know that they were. The logo doesn't have anything to do with their business. It's just they've been able to cultivate a following through the lifestyle that they've portrayed, that their products give the users. So it's a trusted brand. People trust them because they've been able to establish that reputation. So everything an Apple user may, I go to Apple because they're probably the most famous technology company in the world. Everything an Apple user knows about the company is the brand. Not just the logo, goes down to the packaging, the lifestyle, how they market themselves. People who aren't even Apple computer users have often got an Apple phone. They're probably the most popular phone in the world. So it's just the perception the customers have of a business, and it's not just about logo, colours, or anything like that. It's everything about the business. That's what the brand is.
So yeah, when you were talking about Apple, I have to say there's like a few months or maybe even a year ago, I was walking by and I had my friend's little kid, my son's friend who's a little kid with me. And there was this all glass structure. And as soon as he saw that, he was like, "Is that an Apple store?" And I was like, you know, Apple Store is synonymous with the all glass structure all around. So do you think that is also a part of branding for Apple?
Yeah, that would be branding. It's an immediate recognition of who they would be and who they would most likely, or what they most likely represent in the mind of the people. Someone even just glancing. They're all about simplicity, keeping things really simple. They're not showy. They're clean. They're neat. White space. Well, when I say white space, what I mean by white space is they're not filling that space with imagery that just might be a single image on a box or on a piece of glass or whatever. It's just very simple. It's very recognisable. Another instance would be Coca-Cola. Since I was a kid, Coca-Cola have advertised a lifestyle, like at the beach with your friends, having fun, out in the sun, jumping off big what do you call it, the big slides and all that sort of stuff into the ocean. And it depicted a lifestyle. It wasn't just about, oh, here's a drink, we advertise this drink sort of thing. But it's all about the generating a feeling in the customer.
So it's like,
And that,
it's not what they see, it's like, it's not what the customers see, it's like how the customers see. So that's the difference. Yeah.
it's a subconscious thing too. It's not something like if a kid was driving past McDonald's, they just have to see a glimpse of those colours, the green, the red and the yellow. They'd immediately, even if they were like 2 years old, they'd immediately know what it represents. So they're three of the most powerful brands that we could probably think of off the top of our head. There's quite a number of others, but each business can have their own mini impact in their economy. Whether they've been going for 5 minutes or 50 years, they can look the part. They can look like they belong. I have a lot of I've had customers come up to me and say, "Oh, but we're only just starting out, so we don't want to look too complicated, or we don't want to do this, or we don't want to do that." And I said, it doesn't matter how long you've been operating, as long as you do a good job, you've got a reputation, you build a reputation, the customer's happy, that's the main thing. If the customer's happy, you need to stake your claim in the industry, whatever industry it may be, stake your claim in that industry and look the part and be present and be confident in that, in your brand, in your business, in your brand. So when I say confident in your brand, it's like the brand is the face of the business, what people see, whether it's subconscious, the feeling that they get when they see you, whether they know you very well, whether they don't know you very well. Your presentation is part of your brand. It's not everything about the brand, but it's what people would immediately see when they're new to your business. The presentation is what they see.